Welcome. So this week's adventure is going to be a little bit different, a little bit unconventional, so to speak, as I am filming late at night with very bad lighting. But I'm afraid of losing this thought process and not really having a chance to get it out there. So please sit back and relax and feel like you're with a friend, and let's talk about concussions. So I've always heard that if you have a concussion, you'll black out, or if your child has a concussion, they're gonna black out right when it happens. You're gonna have nausea, throwing up, everything, and their pupils are not going to be dilating normally. So all of that is not necessarily the case, as it turns out. We found out today that Josh actually has a concussion and has had a concussion for a few days. And the decisions that we made based on thinking he didn't have a concussion probably, well, it wasn't very good for him. So let's backtrack for a moment. Okay, backtrack. So on Saturday, he was bringing in the dog, and he went up the steps, and the dog knocked him over, and he fell off the steps, and somehow he managed to swan dive and hit the top of his head directly onto the concrete. He said he was giggling when it happened. That's kind of just the way Josh is. So he came in, he told us, "Ow, I hurt myself," and we said, and we still weren't quite clear on how. He's like, "Oh, well, he knocked me over and I hit my head on the concrete," which I was thinking was back here. So I checked his pupils, I'm checking his eyes, they're dilating, he's following my finger, no problem, no jerky movements or anything. Yeah, I'm putting the flashlight to his eye, away from his eye, they're dilating, touching where it is, and it doesn't feel like even a goose egg. It feels like felt like a weird, like, maybe there's a bump, but maybe there's not. I don't really know how else to explain that. So we gave him a little bit of Tylenol. He wasn't tired, he wasn't acting off, he wasn't slurring, his memory was there, everything was fine. So we went about the day. He seemed fine later in the evening. He was fine the next day. The next day was Sunday, and we went to go celebrate Braden's birthday at Disney. So we went down there, went to Animal Kingdom. We had fun. The kids rode Everest, and then right after Everest we went to Lion King. When we were in Lion King, there was some confusion about who wanted to sit where. Josh ended up not sitting where he wanted to sit. At least that's what I understood from the situation. And later in the show, I noticed that he was crying, but it appeared to be that he was upset that he wasn't in the spot he wanted. And I tried to talk to him, and he wasn't willing to talk to me, so, which is normally what happens when he's feeling upset. And so I figured, well, I'm going to give him his space, and after the show I'll talk to him. So after the show I talked to him, and he said he had a headache. Now, our assumption was maybe because he had been refusing to drink as much water that day, maybe something was going on. So we got him some ibuprofen from Disney, from First Aid. We got some ice cream in him. He appeared to be doing well, and everything was fine. And then you cut to Monday morning. I get a message from Katie that she thought maybe she heard him crying as she was walking out the door, but she was running late for work. He didn't appear to be, he wasn't reaching out for anyone, so she thought maybe he was having a bad dream, which sometimes happens. So, and she heard him while she was already out the door, I guess, through the window, so she just left me a message. And he ended up waking up and coming into me and waking me up and telling me that his head hurt. He had a migraine. Now at this point, I'm assuming that he's dehydrated from the day before because he was refusing water. So we put him in a dark room. We put, cool compress, warm compress, back and forth, ibuprofen, Tylenol. He sleeps the whole day away. He did tell me, he would, he definitely seemed dehydrated from every other aspect. Okay, so later in the evening, he's fine. Tuesday comes. He wakes up. He's fine, and then all of a sudden he's not. He comes to me, he says, "Ow, I hurt, my head is hurting." I give him some Tylenol again, relaxes for a little while, sleeps on and off, wakes up a little earlier than the day before. from the daytime sleeping, but then he's fine at night. He's fine, no problem. Okay, we're good. He definitely, I talked with him. He drank a lot more water. He was feeling more hydrated, everything. So I thought, okay, we're good. Then we cut to today. We wake up, and he said he woke up. He felt fine. He took his medicine. He was fine. He sat down on the couch to watch a little TV before breakfast, which is, our routine. And he was fine. And then all of a sudden, he wasn't. And he came in, and he was screaming and crying, and people breathing was bothering him. So, and then he started telling me that half of his face, literally like right down the middle, the right half of his face was hurting. So I'm like, well, that's not good. Why would only half your face hurt? And I'm starting to think, I'm like, well, he did fall on Saturday, because this is the first time that I even start to think about the fall, because it had been such a inconsequential moment. Like, nothing, it wasn't a major thing for him. He wasn't like, oh, my head all night or anything. I mean, it just, kids fall. So I'm talking back and forth with my wife through text, and I'm like, I really think we should go ahead and take him to the doctor. She says, okay. So I take him to the ER. Thankfully, Amber was able to watch the kids for us, and I was able to run to the ER. I go to the ER, and sure enough, it turns out he is concussed. They will go ahead and do a CT scan, and not only is he concussed, but half of his face, the reason for all this ow is he has a sinus infection. Only on one side of his face, though. Which was good, because honestly, at first we were back and forth on whether to even do the CT scan, because the doctor's like, well, he's definitely concussed. She told me, she probably would have done exactly what we did, which was think that everything was fine, because he didn't concuss in a normal way. Like, it's not like he didn't do the normal symptoms. So, and I had wanted to take him to the doctor on Saturday, but the thing that kept me from it was because I'm like, well, he's not appearing it. And she even said if we had taken him in, honestly, all they would have done for him would have been what we did, which would be more of a wait and see. Now, we would not have put him on a roller coaster the very next day. And I'm kicking myself on that one, because like I said, I didn't know he was concussed, and I didn't even think about it, because he had been fine and he was acting fine and everything was fine. So definitely things to remember, that if your child falls and even if he doesn't appear to be concussed, he could have a concussion, and you need to definitely keep following up and checking on that. And though the doctor, like I said, the doctor said that even if we had brought him in, all that they would have done, they wouldn't have even done a CT scan that day, because they wouldn't have seen anything. Like, everything would have been, well, I don't think anything's wrong. Plus, the doctor was saying, she doesn't like doing that on kids, because the radiation is cumulative over years, so you don't want to do too many if you can avoid it. So lesson of the day is, if you feel something's wrong, go ahead and just get it checked out, or at least pay attention, and know that concussion does not always look like what we've been taught. A concussion can be, sorry, my head's hurting from the way I'm laying, trying to get this light for the video. A concussion can be there even if you don't see the symptoms. So really, just kind of pay attention, know your kid, and like I said, today, the third day, I'm like, something just doesn't feel right, it's not normal for him, and yes, he was dehydrated the other day, but something else is going on. So I'm glad we went ahead and took him in, because I definitely wouldn't have known even the sinus infection. He's not like dripping or drizzly or coughing or anything. We would have had no clue that he had a sinus infection. So so that was our adventure this week, and every week's always something, right? I will say that, even on the hard days, I'm thankful for everything. I'm thankful for our family. I'm thankful that we get a chance to be their parents, and, to have these kids, and that, I'm just thankful. And I'm glad that he's okay, and that everything's going to be okay. And I just, have learned some lessons that'll be helpful, in the future, so that even if your child does not appear to have a concussion, still check on them, and still see if, and don't put them on a roller coaster the next day. I'm kicking myself on that one. But I mean, even the doctor said, she's like, she probably she wouldn't have even thought of it herself. So, because again, he wasn't acting like he had a concussion, wasn't throwing up, wasn't doing anything that made him appear to be with a concussion. And kids fall, kids get hurt. Sometimes these things happen, and you just you don't think of it as being a hard enough fall. So that's where I'm at. So thanks again for watching. Thanks for kind of letting me kind of let you know everything that's going on. Please check your kids. Make sure that if they fall, that you check it out, see what's going on, keep watching them. Know that kids don't always follow the textbooks. They don't always do what they're supposed to do as far as concussions go. And yeah, so thanks again for watching. Thanks for liking and sharing and commenting and just being there with us on this journey. I'm really enjoying getting to know different people and having all these conversations that I've been getting to have. So thanks for watching, and make sure you share and like and comment and just keep watching and subscribe. Don't forget to hit subscribe. All right, thanks again.